Hello? Woodsboro never stays quiet for long. Just when you think the story is over, the phone rings again. After a year filled with drama that was more brutal than Ghostface killing spree, Scream 7 is about to hit theaters and will premiere on the 27th of February 2026. Today, we will look into the new trailer, highlight the returning cast, some of whom we thought were gone for good, discuss the controversies that almost stopped the production, and so much more. So grab a snack, lock your doors, cause it's time to find out who's behind the mask. Let's tear into the trailer first because it doesn't ease you in. It grabs you by the collar, opening with a classic slasher scene.
Hello?
Hello, Sidney. Did you miss me?
A couple moves into a Ghostface-themed B&B, and of course, it's not just any spot. It's the old Macher house from the first movie, now turned into a full-blown tourist site. Watching the place where Stu famously took TV to the face being turned into a novelty experience is peak Scream irony. Sure enough, the getaway collapses into a bloodbath before the title card even has a chance to settle in. The location shift is the real game changer. We're not in Woodsboro. We're not in New York. This time, Sidney Prescott is trying to disappear into Pine Grove, Indiana, a smaller, quieter town that feels safe right up until it isn't. She's working at a cozy cafe called The Little Latte, doing her best to live a life that doesn't revolve around survival. But we all know Ghostface doesn't do quiet. The danger creeps back in slowly, starting with a call and that legendary voice.
Hello, Sidney. Did you miss me?
Then the killer taunts her by saying the town reminds him of where they grew up, pulling everything straight back to its origins in the worst possible way. The trailer's final stretch goes full bonkers, showing a rapid montage of clips like Sidney and her daughter in a desperate escape, the Meeks-Martin twins fighting for their lives, and Gale Weathers getting out of her news van, looking as ready as ever. But the image that's burned into my brain is the closing scene. A robed figure stands in front of the Macher house, gasoline in hand. Flames crawl up the building as Ghostface's warped voice whispers,
Gonna burn it all down.
Mother!
That line doesn't sound like trash talk. It sounds like a promise. This Ghostface isn't chasing a body count. He looks like he's coming for the entire Scream legacy. Think you know Scream? You missed 7 details. Speaking of legacy, the cast list for Scream 7 feels like a greatest hits album where tracks you swore were gone forever suddenly start playing again. Neve Campbell is back in the lead and she's been open about why she returned. In interviews, she said the script finally felt like a real Sidney story again, and she described the studio meeting her salary demands as a meaningful win. She's also teased that playing Sidney as a mother unlocks a much deeper fear, one that hits harder than anything she's done since the first movie. Then there's the casting news that almost gave us a heart attack. David Arquette, Matthew Lillard, and Scott Foley are all coming back for what could be a massive final showdown. Matthew Lillard hasn't exactly been subtle about it either, joking at horror conventions that Stu has always been there, just under the floorboards waiting to break out. That kind of comment doesn't come out by accident. Courtney Cox rounds out the legacy lineup, officially becoming the only actor to appear in every Scream movie. She probably deserves an award for that one. She's described the set as deeply nostalgic, especially with so many familiar faces back together. Mason Gooding and Jasmine Savoy Brown return as the Meeks-Martin twins, maintaining the modern look of the franchise. Joining them is Isabel May as Sidney's daughter, a role that many, including myself, hope will carry that unmistakable Prescott toughness we've seen in previous movies. Should Stu actually come come back or should he stay dead? If you love this franchise, the name Kevin Williamson means everything. He wrote the original Scream in a 3-day creative blur in the 90s, yet somehow never directed an entry until now. His return feels less like a hiring choice and more like a rescue mission. After the creative team behind Scream 5 and 6 stepped away and the production stalled it, it was Neve Campbell who personally convinced him to step in. Kevin has admitted he turned the studio down more than once, but Neve's call made it clear the series needed its OG voice back in charge. Williamson's impact on pop culture is hard to overlook. Before becoming synonymous with Scream, he reshaped teen drama with Dawson's Creek, proving young characters could be sharp, emotional, and believable. He followed that with a legendary horror run writing I Know What You Did Last Summer and The Faculty, then later dominating television with The Vampire Diaries. His style, fast, self-aware dialogue mixed with real emotions, became something the rest of Hollywood spent years trying to copy. Because Kevin built Woodsboro from the ground up, expectations are high. Everything points to a blend of his early razor-sharp wit and the emotional weight he's honed over time. The director said his focus is character first, which means the kills matter, but only because the people do. He's stepping back in to prove he still knows the rules better than anyone. Daily horror news and lists at likehorror.com. Behind the scenes, Scream 7 faced its own real-life nightmare. The project nearly collapsed after a full corporate meltdown. In late 2023, Spyglass Media Group fired Melissa Barrera over social media posts, triggering immediate backlash and boycott threats. The fallout was fast and loud. Within 24 hours, Jenna Ortega also exited the film. While scheduling conflicts with Wednesday was the initial reason, Ortega later revealed she didn't want to continue once the creative environment became compromised. That decision wiped out the core 4 storyline and forced a complete rewrite. Things spiraled further when director Christopher Landon stepped away, calling the experience a nightmare. It later came out that he had faced intense online harassment and even death threats, pushing him out entirely. The chaos is what finally pushed the studio to meet Neve Campbell's demands, supposedly offering her an attractive deal to stabilize the franchise. When Kevin Williamson steps in, he inherited a movie reconstructed from the ground up, shaped by controversy and pressure, with everyone watching closely. The fact that the film is still moving forward says a lot about how badly this one needs to land. With so many amazing characters returning, the usual rules don't really apply anymore. The line between dead and gone has basically vanished. Matthew Lillard's involvement alone drags an old question back into the spotlight. What if Stu Macher never actually left the story? The movie doesn't spell it out, but the implication hangs there. A survivor slipping through the cracks and waiting decades fits uncomfortably well with Scream's love of unfinished business. There's also a modern angle threading through everything. With David Arquette and Scott Foley back, the setup feels ready to turn technology into the next weapon. Familiar faces, perfect voices, and a screen are just enough. It's a natural evolution of the voice changer idea, updated for a world where identity can be copied, faked, and weaponized. Naming Sidney's daughter Tatum doesn't feel normal either. That choice pulls the past tragedy straight into the present, hinting at a motive built on history rather than simple revenge. This wouldn't be about killing Sidney. No, it would be about settling a score that started in 1996. And then there's Gale Weathers. After surviving and documenting nearly every massacre, her position in the story feels deliberate. In a franchise obsessed with obsession, Gale standing this close to the chaos again raises another question. At what point does watching turn into participation?
All those muscles.
Beyond the plot, it looks like Scream 7 is taking a massive page out of the Halloween playbook. Specifically, critics and eagle-eyed fans have pointed out that the trailer feels more like John Carpenter's original or the 2018 David Gordon Green reboot than a traditional Scream flick. This reunion between Sidney and Ghostface has a weight and a final confrontation vibe that mirrors the Laurie Strode versus Michael Myers showdown. The visual parallels are impossible to ignore. From Sidney's daughter walking down a suburban street with her friends, which reveals a direct nod to a famous shot in the 1978 original, to even Ghostface himself. This version of the killer is being characterized differently. He moves with a precise, almost relentless purpose rather than the clumsy human stumbles of previous movies. He's being treated less like a guy in a mask and more like the actual boogeyman. There are even specific shots that feel like total clones, like Ghostface performing the Michael Myers infamous setup and a sequence where Ghostface is engulfed in the flames of a burning building. Perhaps most telling is Sidney's role. Just like Laurie Strode, she's now the veteran warrior teaching her daughter the final girl skills needed to survive. Since Kevin Williamson is a massive John Carpenter fan, these similarities might not just be coincidences. They could be a way for Scream 7 to acknowledge its roots. So what should we expect? Expect a movie that's more grounded, more tense, and far more personal than the near superhuman Ghostface of previous Scream entries. This is a fight over Sidney Prescott's story. With Kevin Williamson directing, the dialogue should be one for the ages. The real question isn't just who's behind the mask, it's why the nightmare refuses to let Sidney go. The final act is rumored to be destructive and emotional, with the burn it all down theme pointing towards a final confrontation. A multiple Ghostface scenario wouldn't feel out of place, especially in a franchise built on obsession and imitation. Most importantly, Scream 7 looks set to finally give Sidney some kind of closure. If this is the last chapter for the Prescott family, it's going out with a bang. Slashing into theaters on February 27, 2026, the movie promises something emotional, sharp, and ruthless. Because in Scream, the past isn't just behind you. It's usually hiding in your closet with a buck 120 knife. There you have it, folks. All you should expect from the latest page of the Scream franchise book. This new movie isn't just another sequel. It's shaping up to be a homecoming that brings the franchise back full circle. If you think I missed anything, let me know in the comments. Love the video? Stay tuned for our 7 interesting Scream universe details fans often miss. Remember, when the phone rings at an odd hour, don't pick up. Don't go anywhere.